We have a very special guest.
If someone around you tells you not to ruffle feathers, you need to run.
Jessica Rivera, executive coach.
My goal for myself and for you guys and for everybody listening is to make ourselves 1% better every day. But what does that look like? So stop escaping your problems and deal with your own shit.
She just shut us up.
Is somebody feeling seen right now? That's the secret sauce.
Welcome back. Season 3, Gemini Soulcast.
Hey.
We're so excited to be here. How you been, Rob? I'm your host, Sin.
And I'm your host, Rob. It's been a long time.
It's been a while.
A little bit of a hiatus for us to live life and do what we gotta do. But we're very excited for season 3. I'm doing well. I'm doing amazing. I'm wearing, in case you can't see it, I'm wearing the Bad Bunny shirt right here. When we're here in Nueva York. As we know.
Nueva York! That's how you
right.
say it, yeah.
Nueva York!
And today we have a very special guest. We have Jessica Rivera, executive coach.
Woo!
Amazing human being.
Hey.
Thank you.
Amazing podcast. She has her own podcast.
That's right.
You should check
A
it out.
Taurus as well.
I am.
Are you a Taurus?
Yes, I am.
Oh!
Hey.
Taurus all day.
Taurus gang.
Yeah.
Taurus. That makes sense, though.
It does. It actually does.
Thank you for, agreeing to come on and being our very first guest for season 3.
Yes.
Amazing. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
We appreciate it so much. So we did meet at the Futuro Digital Conference. One thing that really connected me to you was your story. So how you spoke about becoming a mom at 19 and all the things that you have accomplished up until now. So I too was a young mom, 19. Did you ever hesitate though? Did it ever pass your mind to hesitate at that time? Like, not to get too personal, but like in a sense where you worried about like what your future may look like?
I didn't. I really didn't. I was kind of more like, it's me and like my baby against the world. Like that was kind of the mentality. Like, I'm like, not that I got this. I think it was just autopilot. Like I make a decision and I'm just like full force. That's kind of the way it was. I really don't think I really thought things through, to be honest. Like it's a good and it's a bad thing. I almost feel like the good part is like, you're just executing. The bad part is that you're just executing, right? And so, I had just made the decision, and my father, my parents, I'm super close to my parents. My father actually didn't speak to me for about 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
He was very, very upset.
I could relate to that because it was really my mom that was really upset with me. But my dad was super supportive.
My mother was supportive. My father was pissed.
It's
Yeah. He didn't speak to me for 6 months or a little bit more. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then of course once the baby's born, okay. Then it's over and everything is not fine, but fine.
Did you have like a different idea? Let's say like I know like you were good to go. Like I felt the same way too. Very confident in my decision.
Yeah.
But I had bigger dreams myself that I didn't get to, that I know I still can, but I didn't get to during my journey. Was there anything that you thought of that maybe you were dreaming about and it kind of like gave you a little detour?
No, I don't. I think at that point my dreams had already been muted.
What do you mean about that?
So like I said, I would just go and I would just kind of follow the fun. And so at that point I remember I had been like cutting out of school a lot. And it had gotten to the point where either like I was going to go full force and try to graduate on time or drop out. Like that was the like two decisions. Those were the only two options I had in my mind. And I remember meeting with the dean or the guidance counselor, whoever it was, and saying, okay, well, these are your options. And I said, okay, I'm going to go full force. But my point in saying at that point, my dreams had already been muted was because I had already like messed up that any bigger dreams of like going to college and I, like being an attorney, I think was one of my dreams, had already been like, that's not going to happen. Like that just isn't going to happen. In my mind, that had already happened way before I had a child. I think having him actually made me want more. And that is what made me say, I need to be better, be more, do more for him. Yeah.
Oh man, I could really relate to that.
That resonates too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that hits home for me.
Motherhood's parenthood is a whole different.
Listen,
wow.
you're in charge of someone's whole life. Like, I don't think I understood. I don't know about you, but I didn't understand the weight of that at the time. I was just doing, like, okay, moving on, like next, doing. And I think that really lasted a very long time in my life where I was just doing,
Right.
not being.
I could say that I got lost along my journey.
Yeah.
I really got lost along my journey. It took me a while to get to where I am. Where I got to is like maybe 10 years ago is when I really started aligning with the things that I wanted to do.
Well, when you think about lost, you could be an attorney and have a great success, a career, and be lost.
Right.
I think
Right.
many of us are lost in our journeys.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't, to me, that's not a status or that's not an income bracket. You could be lost and still have lots of money. And I think I was lost. Lost in accomplishments and achievements and just doing, like I said, just doing. Like, it's like, what's that next income bracket? What's that next promotion? What's that next whatever? So on the external, outside, it looked like I was doing phenomenal. Like, I had bought my own home. I was raising the boys. I worked remotely. I ran a team. Nobody knew what the hell I did, but they knew I was making money, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So externally, it looked fire. Like, it looked good. Like, I remember my cousin telling me, are you dating? Like, do you date? And she's like, it just doesn't seem like you need anybody. And I was like, well, I mean, I guess I don't, but somebody would be nice. Yeah.
Somebody to add to it.
Yeah.
To everything that you were doing.
When you're talking about feeling lost, right? You had all these accolades. You had your
I
money.
didn't feel lost.
You didn't feel lost.
I said I was lost.
Right.
I
at
didn't
that time.
necessarily feel lost.
Because at the time you thought that you were doing all the stuff.
I was
that-
hitting the mark. I just need to hit the next mark. I
Right.
just need to hit the next mark. Like, that's all. Like, in my mind, I didn't feel lost.
When was it for you when you had that mental shift?
So my personal life was like an emotional roller coaster. And that was my norm, right? High highs, low lows. And it was messy. But that's just kind of what it was. And I didn't pay attention to that. I paid attention to work because that just felt a lot easier. And the kids and my family and blah, blah, blah. So it was like I was very successful at work, or I felt like I was, right? Because I was hitting those marks. I was making money. I was making more money than I had ever made. And that was good. It wasn't until there was a lot of angst at work that I was like, oh, no, this doesn't feel right. I was used to having like chaotic, sometimes toxic, and sometimes nothing kind of personal life, right? Where I was just ignoring anything personal and I was focused on the kids and my family and work. Once work started having some angst, then that threw me off. Like, something was wrong because I just wasn't used to that. I wasn't used to that at all. And that's what got me, although I was saying I was always into self-development, always, since I can remember. Like, I remember my son's father, when we would get into arguments, he'd be like, go read another self-help book. I'm like, that's how I know I was always into self-help. But it took me a long time. And we wait for things to break. We wait. Even if it's like there's a little nudge here or there, we wait for things to break before we move, which is unfortunate.
For me, it's like, I'm also a psychic medium, right? So like my relationship with like spirit, let's say, was giving me warning signs in my marriage. I'm just trying to relate here to like some things that you may go through. For me, it was like, I was feeling sick a lot. I was like, all the signs were there that this was no longer for me.
Yeah.
Because it was also holding me back.
Yeah.
And me trying to like fight my way out of it or be vocal about the things that I was trying to create for myself was like a battle all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
And I'll say, you don't have to be a psychic anything,
Yeah.
but the same thing happens.
Yeah.
Their signs are always there. Like, God is always speaking to you,
Yes.
telling you,
Facts.
giving you those little data points where it's like, and those thoughts are always in your mind, whether it be you should leave or for your bigger dream. And we hesitate. And, we were talking about the concert yesterday, Bad Bunny's concert yesterday that was streamed. Imagine if he allowed fear to get in his way. Imagine if he said, oh, I made it. I don't have to do anything else. right? And became complacent. And we do that to ourselves all the time. We're like, okay, I got this title or I made this amount of money. And we think we put the ceiling on ourselves. We'll say there's a ceiling, glass ceiling there. We put that on ourselves.
Yes.
And the more we can stop doing that and stop allowing fear or whatever somebody else thinks to get in our way, then we can start going to wherever it is that we want to go.
And that is true, because even he has said, Bad Bunny, that there was people around him trying to tell him like what to do with his life, and his thing was music. Like he wanted to do all these things. And I agree with that 100%, because sometimes there are people around us that don't want to see us win. They kind of like, in my opinion, they kind of like, and I've been through this, where they're trying to plant the seed almost to make me change my mind or second guess myself. But even though I'm confident in what I want to do, I feel like sometimes we have people around us too that kind of like try to hold us back by trying to project their fear onto us or make us become fearful.
I don't think they're trying to hold us back. I think this is how I see it. I don't think they're trying to hold us back.
So I'm here to learn from you. Let's go.
I think that they are trying to keep us safe.
Okay.
Right? That's what fear does. That's what fear does. It's like, don't speak to that person that, you know, the cuckoo's over there. It's like the scary person, right? That's they're really trying to keep us safe. And sure, they are projecting their fears on us, but that doesn't mean that they willingly and knowingly know that, right? True. They are trying to keep us safe. You as a mother, you've told your kid not to do something out of your own fears. We've all done it. And so I see it like, I don't see it like they're trying to hold me back. I see it that they're trying to keep me safe.
What would you say to people that have envy, or, you know, in terms of like what you're doing?
I would say if someone's envious, or like, let's say I'm envious, or I've been envious of other people, that's me wanting to get closer to what they have, right? And then you flip it on like, you're proof that it's possible. Right. And so if I want a beautiful relationship and marriage, and I see someone else, I'm like, damn, like, how did that bitch get that? Like, and let's just say, right? Yeah. Instead of doing that, you just flip it and say, if she has that, that means I'm one step closer. Like, I'm one step closer to getting whatever it is that I want.
I know, that's how I see it too. But then I just feel like sometimes there's people around me that don't feel the same way.
Well, if they don't feel the same way, and let's say they're not there yet, I mean, I just have compassion for people like that, because we've all been there. Yeah. Like, we have all been there, and they are not self-aware, self-evolved, all those things yet. And they'll either get there when they want to or when they can, or they won't. But that's not my business.
That's right.
Like, that's not for me to take on. Wait, and I just want to say, like, in my head, I'm like Wonder Woman. I'm like, bing, bing. Like, I reject all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's an important part, though, right? Because, like, you don't want to let whatever energy that's not serving you, like, then influence you. Like, you know yourself, you're a radiant soul, that you're here to give out love, right? So where do we find that balance of, like, I'm here to protect my boundaries and stay true in my own power, while also knowing that, as you mentioned in your podcast, softness is power, like leading with love. Where do you strike that balance for yourself?
So I'll say this. I was speaking to one of my coaching clients, and she's an executive, and she has a team, and blah, 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 and she's having a hard time at work. And this is what we do with ourselves. We become the rescuer, right? And so she was like, you know, there's something called the drama triangle, and it was developed by this psychologist, and it's a psychological and social kind of paradigm that we put ourselves in when we're in a tough spot. And so you could either be the victim, you turn into the victim, you turn into the persecutor, or you turn into the rescuer. So she was telling me the story, and I'm like, give me an example. So she tells me, well, if we're in a toxic environment and it really bothers me when someone's mental health becomes at stake. I said, okay, give me an example. She's like, well, one of her colleagues was upset. There was a toxic situation going on, and she's working from home, and this guy was yelling at her, and her kids could hear it. And she goes on and on. She ended up going to HR and telling them about this story. And I said, okay, let me ask you a question. The first thing that comes to my mind is, how did the kids hear it? There's only two ways. Either she had him on speaker, or she was yelling back. And so now you just made her problem your problem, because why did she have the guy on speakerphone? So she wants to be the victim and say, my kids heard, which I'm sure their kids have heard yelling before. Then she could have stopped it and said, hey, I can't do this anymore. right? So let's give her some tools. Or she was yelling back. And if she was yelling back, then trust me, that's not the first time her kids heard her yelling.
Right.
And so, but on her side as the leader, which by the way, this person wasn't even in her department, let me take that on and let me rescue you. And I'll go to HR. Meanwhile, she wouldn't even go to HR for herself. So why is she going to HR for somebody else? But that's what we'll do. And that's how we avoid our own problems, because I'm going to make your problem my problem, and I'm going to feel good when I help you with your problem. But meanwhile, you're not even fixing your own problems.
You feel called out, Rob?
Is somebody feeling seen right now? Is someone feeling seen?
Oh my God. The rescue complex. Yeah, I think I resonate with that a lot. I feel called out. I'm like perspiring now.
Listen, my goal for myself and for you guys and for everybody listening is to make ourselves 1% better every day. But what does that look like? What does that look like, right? It's stop avoiding. Because that's a symptom of, that's a way that we avoid. I'm not going to pay attention to my problems. Let me help you with yours. Like, dude, you have your own problems to fix.
Yes.
Right? So that's one way of getting yourself 1% better. Where am I avoiding? What am I doing to escape? And there's so many ways that we escape. And for me, back in the day, one of the ways I would escape was going out. My calendar was full, work full, kids full, and then going out full. So my social calendar was full, the kids' social calendar was full, and then I was like on calls, working. And that's a way to escape your real problems, right? Being the rescuer, a way to escape your problems. So stop escaping your problems and deal with your own shit. Like take a look in the mirror first. That's a really good way of becoming 1% better. And then if I want to also challenge us another, like that's one, then two would be to do a detox. Like, I don't mean food, it could be food. But what are we feeding our brains?
Right.
Right? Like take 5 minutes to mute and unfollow every single day. Like the news, oh my God, I was a massive political junkie back in the day. I used to love watching all the news. But I haven't watched the news probably in 7 or 8 years. Now that doesn't mean that I don't know about the news. I go to the news. I don't allow the news to come to me. The news will convince you and brainwash you into number one, filling you with tons of fear.
Right.
And number two, making everybody else be the bad guy. And so if the news can brainwash you into doing that, I'm going to brainwash you into thinking the exact opposite. Like, no fear, you're the best, people are good. If I'm good and you're good, we're not the only 3 people that are good.
Right.
There's more good people. I think most people are good. So I'm going to brainwash you into seeing the good. And so definitely, do a detox in what you feed your brain. And I would even say do a detox in what you feed yourself, because the way we take care of our bodies, that manifests as well.
Yeah, mind, body, and soul connection right there.
100%.
When you're mentioning about that detox, I remember listening to your podcast, and you were talking about how sometimes you have to release in order to receive.
Yeah.
Can you give us an example of that? I know you mentioned the detox part, right?
Well, I'll tell you one of the things I released, like even this summer. So like, if you're from New York, right? Usually like the summer is like, I don't know, it's my favorite time, right?
That's great.
And we're outside, we're doing all the things, and it's beautiful and blah, blah. And so this summer I made a decision to say no to everything I've always said yes to. And say yes to the things that I don't typically say yes to.
Oh, okay.
What does that look like, or what does that mean? And so I really grounded myself. I said no to most dinners, most outings, most things like that. So if it wasn't feeding my brain or my pockets, I just didn't really go anywhere. And I made a decision that as I continue growing my company, I really needed to sit still and really envision and have a vision for what that next level looks like. Like, what's your big, hairy, audacious goal? And the more you have clarity on that goal, then you reverse engineer that and figure, okay, well, am I living that? Right? So if my goal is to, and we could just put it in simpler or maybe not so simple terms, it's like, if my goal is to radiate love, then how am I doing that every single day? Right? Am I truly treating, because I think we've all known that person that's like, my husband is the best, blah, blah, blah. And then you see them in person and you're like, that's weird because you guys are toxic, right? So making sure that you guys that we live out exactly what we want, and that the vision. Okay, so if the vision is to build a business, then what am I doing every single day? If the vision is to radiate love, then what am I doing every single day? If the vision is, if the vision of this woman is this, then how do I make sure that I'm doing exactly, I'm thinking the way she thinks. I'm around the people, the type of people she would be around. I'm doing everything that she would potentially do. And so I really grounded myself to make sure my vision was clear so that in this next season, which this season happens to be a very busy season for me, that I'm truly living that, not only externally for people to see, but also with my integrity when no one is looking.
Oh. She just shut us up.
I'm chewing on
We're
that.
like, oh.
I'm chewing on that. No, that is amazing. I was reflecting upon that recently for myself because I'm a creative person and I'm an artist, but I realized that this whole summer, like, I wasn't as creative as I wanted to be. And I realized that a lot of my energy gets pent up because it wasn't going towards that vision that I had. I think when we're talking about vision, do you like do any like visualization techniques or anything like that?
I mean, I meditate a lot and I visualize, definitely. But I really think it's important that is a way to have clarity. But like I like to write also, just to, like you'll see my office is just full of like those big gigantic Post-it notes and just putting it out there to make sure that I am truly, and I check myself all the time. Like, am I truly living like that? Like, what could I do more? What could I do better? What could I do less?
Do you also journal?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. But I will say this. I think that all of that is great. But if you're not doing something, like, then do not, like, you don't have to worry about that. If it takes you an hour and a half and then you have to, like, get to work. Get to work too, right? Yeah. And so I think action is super important. Like, people would sit there, like, let me journal, let me meditate, let me do this. Like, and then, like, you think confidence is just going to be like, poof, confident. No, that's not how that works. Like, do the thing first. Do it.
So you feel, and I know I heard you say this too on your podcast, how people feel like, I'm stuck, I'm stagnant. And I think you said something along the lines is like, no, that's your fear.
Yeah.
Holding you back, and you have this fear of like betting on yourself.
Correct.
What would you say to our audience, like for people that may be in that position?
Listen, we get so stuck in what someone else is thinking about me. Right? Many of us were like raised like that. Like, what are they going to think? Don't act like that because right.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. I mean, in people of color, Asian cultures like that too, right?
Yeah,
where
immigrant cultures like that.
Immigrant cultures like that, right? And so I think we need to just like stop giving a fuck. And I think we need to stop giving a fuck about that and give more fuck about like, okay, what really resonates with me? Who do I want? Have clarity on who you want to show up as. And so I'll say this. So, people are like, oh, I'm just going to be me. That's cool. But are you proud of who you are? And if you're not, then it's okay to change and evolve, right? And so if I'm like, oh, I'm just going to be me. And so I grew up in Brooklyn and then we moved to Queens when I was like in the 8th grade. And, but I wanted to speak better, right? I wanted to have a little bit less of a Brooklyn, Queens accent or a New York accent. And I still have it, which is fine, but I wanted to sound intelligent. I wanted to sound like I know what I'm talking about. I wanted to be able to put thoughts together clearly and concisely so that I can, when I deliver the message, people hear me. And so there's nothing wrong with evolving, but yes, I'm going to be me. And that means, I disagree. And I remember the first time I ever cursed in front of my boss, which my mouth is, I have a potty mouth, obviously. but he had known me for a very, very long time at this point. Was my boss, wasn't my boss, whatever. And I remember I cursed and he's like, wow, you must be really passionate about that. I said, no, John, I actually just curse a lot. And he was like, do you? I'm like, yeah. But I had already given up whatever persona I wanted to be in anyone else's head. And I had decided that it was okay for me to curse every once in a while. Now,
Yeah.
you don't want to F-bomb every 2 seconds because then people don't even hear what you're saying, but you get my point. So I think it's important for us to, yes, be ourselves, but be the evolved version of yourself. Are you proud of who you are today? And if you want to tweak a couple of things, perfect, then do it.
I just remember trying to get out of my marriage, and it was the same thing. I was worried about, what's the family gonna think?
Yeah.
What is my daughter gonna say?
Yeah.
What is this, that, and my friends, and you get in your head so much, and you stay in that. You just stay, and then eventually, though, I did get to the point where it was like, no, fuck this. This is my life.
Right.
They're not living it, and I can't stay sad. I was going through like depression. I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
And it was my daughter that told me.
I was just going to say that. I was going to say
Yeah.
that this is a big, that was a big step, right? But even in the smallest things, like, have you ever, I remember, and my ex's parents are amazing, but I remember we're very different, like our families. And I remember, like, we were going, I was going to their house or going wherever with them, or maybe going to their house for a weekend, and I'm like dreading it and like playing all these scenarios in my head, and they're like the best people. And so you ever do that? It's like you build this story up in your head, you get there, and it's never as bad as you think it is. And then it's like that we do that for ourselves for everything.
Yeah.
And many times, we stay for the kids, or we stay for a reason, we stay for that reason, that whatever the reasons are. And the reality is that person's looking at you like, when are you gonna leave? Like, when are you going to stick up for yourself? And I speak to this a lot with my coaching groups and clients. It's like, we will take on some things that we would never want the people that we love to take it on. We stay in things that we would never want the people that we love to stay in. And I think it's time for us to start treating us the way we treat other people.
Run it back.
Oh, rewind.
Wow. That has to be like a treat ourselves the way we want to be treated. Like, yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah. It's supposed to be us, then them.
It kind of goes back to what you're saying about, like, whether it's a rescuer complex or just taking on those things that aren't even meant for us, right? But I think in those moments, it's hard for people in general to even recognize that they're, say, in a situation, in a workplace, in a relationship that is that way, right? But I guess, like, for anybody who may be going through something like that, how would you, number one, identify that, okay, this is something that I either have to change or I have to leave and release? And then number two, how do you develop that courage and that strength to then, like, take that leap of faith and bet on yourself?
Yeah. Well, I think that we always know. We may mask it, but we do know. Like, inside, we know this doesn't feel right, this feels off, or whatever it may be. But I will say this. Whenever I have people that are like, oh, I'm going to leave. This woman one time said out loud in front of a whole workshop, just because of you, I'm leaving my husband. I was like, absolutely not. I never told you to leave that man. But I always say, whether you want to leave your husband, your wife, a job, you still have to take you with you. So I never tell people to leave. I always say, this is your opportunity to start behaving the way you want to behave. And so that could mean, and in some cases, it's loving people more, believe it or not. Because you're out here being like, you pointing all those fingers somewhere else, but you haven't even given them what you want. You want more love? Have you given them more love? You want more recognition? Have you given them more recognition? This is at work and at home.
Right.
And so this is your perfect opportunity to either practice challenging, practice loving more, practice speaking up more. This is your opportunity, because then in your next job, in your next relationship, now you know how you, forget about how you want them to behave, how you want to behave. Because we show people how to treat us, right? We know this. And so every time you complain about your child, your team, I always tell leaders, you're complaining about your team, but you're actually complaining about yourself because you set the standard. Yes. And with our children, we can't complain about them people because we literally we literally created that relationship. Right. And so if they're stepping on us, it's because of us. If there's no boundaries, it's because of us. But that goes with every relationship, but especially our kids. And so it's like, when you weren't happy in your marriage, I would have challenged you to say, where did you set those standards? Because we need to raise our own. My standards were in the trash. Like, they were terrible. Yeah. And so you have to raise the standard for you. And you can't expect them. You expect them to raise the standard? Like, that's just not how it works. And so with the bad job, the bad person, the bad whatever, this is the perfect opportunity for you to practice and not leave, because you still have to take you with you.
I think everything is definitely a challenge too. Like no matter if, as you said, whether you stay in the job, stay in the situation or relationship, or you decide to leave, like you have to take ownership.
You got to pick your hard. Pick your hard. Pick your hard. It's and none of it is easy.
Right.
None of it is easy. Talking up and saying, no, I don't like the way you spoke to me, that's hard. Telling someone to go, screaming at them, that's also hard, right? None of it feels good. I really look at it this way. So I don't like going to the gym, right? I don't like working out, blah, 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 but I do it. And I look at it this way. Getting there, that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Every single time I leave, I feel so much better for myself. And that means I kept a commitment to myself. That means I was disciplined. That means so many things psychologically, but then physically, I get those benefits too. Right. And so it's like we have to start delaying. And this is also, time I put myself on punishment. What is it that I need to delay? The instant gratification in order to get the real thing that I want. And so we could take it relationships. Like I need to stop being in these relationships where I know it feels good right now when you're treating me nice, but I know this is going nowhere. Like I know. And so why even subject myself to that? Because I need to play the long game in everything I do. And so then that means cutting off people. That means cutting myself off. Like putting myself on a timeout so that I can get to where I want to be. That means going to the gym more, even if I don't feel like it. It means not having that cookie, even when I want to have that cookie. Like all of those things. It's like, when are we going to stop? And it goes back to that vision of who I want to become and stop the instant gratification so that I can get what I truly, truly desire.
Man, I'm about to leave. Wow.
You also mentioned that Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth.
Yes, like I'm not joking. That book literally changed my life. Like there were so many things that changed my life and so many books that I love, but that's one that really stands out.
I'm currently reading this book right now. I'm over halfway done.
Have you read it? So the way I did it, one of the ways I did it, because I read it a couple of times, but one of the ways I did it is I created a book club, which you don't have to do this, but every time I read it along with the podcast. So Oprah and him have a podcast together about this book where she asks him questions about each chapter, and it makes it almost digestible. I don't know if you've ever read the Bible, but you know how there's like the Bible's like things that assist you in understanding the Bible. She essentially did that with this book, and it's so good. It really helps you understand his thought process, because she asked questions that were like, we're all like, wait a minute.
Yeah, like, Eckhart, what are you talking about?
Eckhart, like, you obviously don't have people that annoy you in your life, because that's really hard. You know? So do it with the podcast.
Interesting.
It's really good.
I'm at the part where he's talking about pain bodies.
Oh my God.
That part, it's like, oh my gosh.
So have you read the book?
No.
Okay, so
good.
Eckhart talks about how everybody has a pain body, and some people's pain bodies are way more apparent than others. And think about it, like somebody automatically came to your head that it's like, oh yeah, you can see that pain body walking in from like down the road. Yeah. And that person typically is just really heavy. Right? Really heavy, lots of pain, lots of anger. You just know this person. Every time you're around this person, they're going to suck the shit out of it, like drain your energy. And we all have a pain body. Just some people are heavier than others. But what are you taking away from it?
I mean, I was reflecting a lot in terms of myself and the types of relationships that I have, whether it's friendships, family, or romantically, and how that affects me as well. Because like whenever you're in an intimate, relationship with anybody, like you take on their
especially
energy.
If you're the rescuer.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. That was something that I had to get very honest with myself about in a recent
relationship.
And I was like, dang, like as much as you could really love that person or see them for who they are, it's like I can't take on that pain, because that was very painful for me too, and I could feel myself getting drained.
Yeah.
And so reading that part, I was like, wow, like, well, first, you're right. Everybody has a pain body.
Everybody.
When you get triggered, right, and that causes that part of that pain body to happen, like, are there things that you do? Or is it an example of that where you're, I'm catching myself in this moment where I'm being triggered, or the pain body's coming back, the trauma's coming back.
I mean, listen, at this point, I kind of get excited, like, okay, that means this is an area I have to work on. But let's rewind. I don't know that I ever really had a heavy pain body, mainly because I was escaping with joy, right? I would be like...
Escaping with joy.
Yeah.
I do that a lot too.
Yeah. My mother is very much like that, right? She's like, I mean, to the point, I'm not as bad as her, because I remember being a teenager being like, you can't allow people to do that to you. But not my parents per se, but like she would let other people kind of step on her. So she was a good mirror for me. But if I look back on, I don't think I ever really had like a heavy pain body, because I was doing a lot of escaping. But there was a moment in time where I did. There was a moment that was happening for me where I felt, and I remember a cousin of mine saying like, is everything okay? We were like at a function, a family function. And I was going through a lot in my relationship at the time. And there was a lot of love in that relationship. We met each other when we were like 22 years old or 23. And there were a lot of high highs and very low lows. And when I look back, and I think we could all kind of reflect on this, it's like that heavy pain body comes a lot because I disappointed myself so much. Yeah, because I knew, right? You know, it's like, I shouldn't be going this direction. I should let this person go. All these things that you should do. And I think I was most disappointed in myself for allowing.
I feel like sometimes, at least for me, it's like, when I feel that way, that means I'm betraying my truth.
Correct. You're betraying yourself every time.
It's like a visceral feeling too. Like you feel it in your body. I get that feeling in my chest. It's like a sinking feeling sometimes.
What's crazy is that way of being for us really, and it's annoying because it's like, you know, when therapy says like everything is when you were a kid, but it does. It does all relate back. And I feel like sometimes when we can find the root of that trauma, it's almost easier to let it go. And I say the story often where for a lot of my life, I didn't feel like I was smart. I felt like everybody else was smart. Like my sister was smarter. Like it just came easier to my sister. It came easier to one of my brothers. My younger brother and I, we were like the fun ones. And I kind of just took on that fun persona. And then I ended up in a relationship with a man who was like seriously like one of the smartest people I know till this day. And I would always think like, he doesn't think I'm smart. And he would be like, I don't know where you get that from. So that I latched onto that idea of I'm not smart. So one, as I'm working on myself several years ago, I don't remember. I went through like a process of like, how do you go back to try and figure out where did this thought come from? And it came from my grandmother. Oh. Yeah. And so I remember this so clearly. We were in her room, myself and my cousin, who was like a year and a half younger than me. And she said to me, why can't you read like your cousin? Now, she didn't mean it like, she wasn't trying to like kill my soul, right? And it was that comment that I latched onto that, and I took and then I made it real. Every time somebody else spelled better than me, every time and I had a lot of smart friends throughout my whole life, and it would just be like, oh, they're the smart one, I'm the fun one. So I took on the fun persona, you took on the smart persona. But again, that was all me.
Internalized.
That was all me saying, oh, yep, that's another clue. That's making my thought a reality. And when I decided, oh, that's where that came from, and it's not true. And I always intellectually felt like people smart, street smart is way better than book smart. Intellectually, I knew that. But the reality is I would still beat myself up for like not knowing every single spreadsheet thing, you know what I mean? And so it wasn't until I released that I was like, oh yeah, I mean, I maybe not, but I'm super smart in other ways.
It's kind of like leaning into your strengths.
Correct.
Instead of looking at your deficits and your weaknesses.
Correct.
Because then you're just beating yourself up.
And no good comes out of that.
You just made me think too of like me, like, same thing. I learn things about myself as far as like fear of abandonment and going down that like rabbit hole, let's
Yeah.
say, of like peeling back the layers and trying to figure out where did that come from, and then me figuring out it was my mom, like
All that.
and then the way we show up in relationships,
Yeah.
which I always felt with her, and I love you, Mom, in case you see this, but I always felt like I had to prove myself to her, like I had to prove that I was worthy of things,
Yeah.
because I felt like she had my brother on a pedestal, which happens a lot in
Latino culture.
Latino
100%.
culture. Yes, they
Asian
put
culture
the
too.
the
The
boy
ma-
on
the
a
boy is on a
pedestal, and
pedestal,
then
yeah.
we're the ones like out here like, hey, what about me? And I didn't feel seen
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah. And I think that's the kind of matrix you don't want to get stuck in. It's like trying to figure everything out. You're never going to figure everything out, because the way
Yeah.
she behaved was based on her upbringing and her childhood, right?
Right.
And so there has to be a huge level of compassion.
Yes.
Because especially if you're a parent, listen, you mess up your kid. We all do. Like, that's just part of like,
Yes.
that's just part of it, right?
Yeah.
And so really having a level of compassion that we're all living this for the first time,
Right.
and that we're all doing the best that we can in the moment.
Yeah. And I have to be like that with her. I mean, you see how I am with my mom. Like, I love that lady.
Yeah.
I went through a lot with her, but I love her. And I know that I know how her upbringing was, which sounds a lot worse than mine. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
I mean, our parents are still children.
We all are.
We all are children. So even if we may look at them as adults and parents, inside
Yes.
they still have that child-like self in them.
That's
we
right.
have to treat them with grace and
Yes.
compassion.
on your podcast, when I was listening to, I had to write this down because I was like, pew, mind blown with this, because you mentioned like a quote that said 76% of people's biggest regret is tied to their ideal self they never lived.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how
Bars.
I felt. Do you ever encounter people, which you probably do, like that feel like, which drives me crazy, but that now they're too old
Yeah.
to succeed or to make something happen that they've always wanted to accomplish? Like, what would your advice be
Yeah.
for people that are in that position?
I mean, I think we all feel like that, right? We're too young, we're too old, we're too this, we're too that. Like, everybody kind of goes through that. And for me, I remember back in the day, Judge Judy saying that she didn't become Judge Judy until she was in her 50s. And so she said she had a whole new career. Like, she spent all those years in New York court, and then had this whole new career on television, not until she was in her 50s. And so in my mind, that always like stuck with me, and thought to myself, oh, well, I could always do something else. I could always do
Right.
something else, right?
Yeah.
I never knew what something else would be. And I think we have to open up our minds, and that's also part of just opening up your mind and saying, where am I putting limitations on myself, right? Whether that be with a relationship, with finding the real you, with finding a man, with finding a woman, with being happier, with your body being in a different shape. Like, how many times do we say, oh, well, yeah, now I'm in my 40s, now I'm in my 50s, now I'm in my whatever age, and that's okay that my knee hurts, my leg hurts, you put so many limitations, we put so many limitations on ourselves. And so it really starts with picking away at every time you put a limit on yourself and saying, well, is it true? Is that true? Do I know of one other person that's in their 50s and has a six pack? Do I know of one other person that's in their, whatever it is that, you know what I'm saying? And if you know of one other person, well, then that could be you too.
How do you quiet those negative voices in your head?
Intentionally. It's not just going to happen overnight.
Right.
Right. So that means you do have to have a practice, whether that be affirmations, whether that be, I love awareness first. Like, what am I thinking? What do I believe about this situation? And when I started questioning every single one of my beliefs about myself and everybody else, right? So not only am I questioning my beliefs about me, I'm also questioning my beliefs about you. If it's negative, it's like, if I thought Asians X, is that true? Or did I hear that from somewhere and I adopted that?
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I also started questioning all of my own thoughts. Then, like, the whole world opened up. And so I think that's a beautiful place to be. Like, start questioning every single one of your thoughts.
Yeah.
Awareness
Because we're
is key.
programmed. We're
Yeah.
programmed. Like,
Yeah.
so every single one of us are programmed up to this date We've all been programmed. And so how do we start rewiring and unprogramming? And in it, that's science, right? Science tells you we build those neural pathways and we have got to cut them.
Oh, that is true. Every time for me, when I hear negative thinking, I think for a second, I go, is that really true? Like I say to myself, and then I say it out loud. And sometimes I say things that I know I'm lying to myself, or I don't know where it's coming from, but I'll be like, no, that's not true. You know, like I've been doing that for like probably the past 2 years now.
Yeah.
I just started changing.
Yeah, is that true? And then the second you're like, yeah, that's true. And then you're like, again, is it true though? Is it really, really true? Is it true? Right?
I had that happen to me yesterday where I was in like a table reading for like a new musical in development. And I remember being in that room. First, I haven't been in this space in a while of creative people. There's some people who've done Broadway, some people who are just like phenomenal composers. And I remember I was talking to one of my director friends there, Riva. And I was like, yo, I'm not gonna lie, I feel a little nervous. And I realized that was the imposter syndrome voice coming back in. And she said, what do you have to worry about? You belong in this space.
Yeah.
In my mindset, I was like, I don't know if I fit in here. I don't know if I'm deserving to be here.
Yeah.
Have you ever had imposter syndrome before?
Oh, 100%. 100%. But I think that I look at it now like that means I'm in the right room. When you think about that example that you just gave, it's like if you were in the room and you're just like, I got this, you're probably in the wrong room. You're probably in the wrong room. You're in a room where it's just like these people are doing the thing. Like, yes, 100%. I'm here to learn from these people. I'm here to connect with these people. I'm not like that's how I see it now. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in the right room. And the more it's proximity. Proximity matters.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like you put yourself in that room. Yeah, it feels scary. Yeah, it feels like it's like imagine. And I remember the CEO, I was at an event and she was the first Black CEO in Silicon Valley. And so her contemporaries are like, Bill Gates and like people like that. And she was asked to be on this board. And on this board was Bill Gates and like whoever else, those type of people. Right. And she said she walked in thinking, what is it that I'm going to contribute to this room? Right? It's like some of the smartest people in Silicon Valley in this room. And so what I learned is it doesn't matter what level you're at, you can still have some of that. But of course, then she switched her mindset, like her perspective, like that's what she's bringing to the table, her perspective. Her perspective is going to be completely different from everybody else at that table.
For sure.
Right? Our perspective, we could have grown up in the same house and our perspective is going to be completely different.
That's true.
Yeah. I got 2 younger brothers. We're very different from each other.
And so that's our, that's the secret sauce.
What do you say to like women that, you probably coach women in this sense, but that feel like they don't have a voice or they feel like, like their voice doesn't matter.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that is huge in like, especially Latinas for some reason.
I know.
And I mean, I want to just shake everybody. Like, I want to just be like,
yes.
I just want to shake you. Because when you talk about like that rescuer, that's Latinas all day long. Like it's like in our DNA and probably Asian culture as well. Like it's on our DNA to put ourselves last. And we are not a good person unless we put ourselves last. Like that's just what it is. Yeah. And I think that when you have to make a decision, that that's not what you want for you. And when you make that decision, then you have to decide that you are going to ruffle feathers. And I always like, if someone around you tells you not to ruffle feathers, you need to run. You need to run because that person is still programmed. And so if you want to get out, you want to deprogram yourself, then you need to move away from those people that are having you follow the status quo. Because there are enough of those people. It's like Stepford Wives. Like, we don't need any more of those people. I need you to think for yourself. I need you to have your opinion. I need you to say your opinion in a way that's going to land. Stop waiting until you're frustrated to be like, damn, now, No, that's not the way to communicate. And so the more they can decide, make a decision that my voice matters and that whatever, as good as it was, whatever mommy and papi told me, that's not going to happen anymore because my voice is, because I know what's best for me.
Right.
I know what's best for me. And if I mess up, that's also okay. That's part of the growth, messing up. And so it really, it's up to the person to make a decision. But I will say, we spoke about this earlier about getting out of your
Like circle or
getting out of your circle, right? We're the sum of the 5 people that we spend the most time with.
Right.
And so if the people I spend the most time with are limited in their point of view, they think everybody's bad or they fear everything, well, then you probably need to move away from those people. You need to intentionally put yourself in spaces. That's why I do love, and I do coach people like this, but I love that they even put themselves there, and I congratulate them because you just made the first step into becoming who you truly want to become. But it is, listen, this whole personal growth thing is very annoying because it never ends, right? It's not like
Forever
fixing a
journey.
tire,
It doesn't, yeah.
right? It never ends. And so that could be annoying, but you have got to keep up with it. And so when you can remove yourself and get yourself out of victim mentality, when you can remove yourself and get yourself out of being the rescuer, when you can remove yourself get out of persecuting everybody else. It's your fault, you, this happened, that happened to me when I was 5, that happened to me when I was 10, and it's everybody else's fault. When you can get yourself out of that and decide, who the hell do I want to be? Then, the thing is, people are afraid to be seen. You said you weren't seen, and then that could relate into not wanting to, like being afraid to be seen. And so, yeah, you have to step out into traffic. You have to be willing to go against the status quo. You have to be willing to be wrong. And you have to be willing to trip and fall in front of other people.
That's like the fear of public speaking.
It's like the fear of public speaking.
And when I had
You
that,
had that, yeah.
and I just made the decision, all right, I'm just going to start going on live and start talking.
You just made a decision. That's it.
And that was it. And then once I did it, I was like,
It's not that hard.
it really wasn't that hard. It's almost like you just flipped a switch, and then I just kept going.
Well, everything goes with making a decision.
Yeah.
Like everything we do in life, right? And someone said, yeah, but how do you know when you're ready? I mean, being ready, it's a decision, not a feeling.
Ah, yes.
You weren't ready when you had your kid at 19. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready when I bought my house. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for jobs I've taken. Like I wasn't ready for a lot of things.
I just said, okay, this is what we're doing.
We're doing it.
Right.
That's it.
And when
You made a decision.
when you talk about that decision, right? Like, at least for me, I could say I'm a Gemini or an ENFP. I have so many things that I like to do. I know I'm not the only one who feels that
No.
way. Sometimes I get into analysis paralysis.
100%.
How do you?
Yes.
I agree with you. You got to make a decision, right? I don't always know what is the decision to make.
Yeah, so I really walk people through when you're in this space. I really walk you through, okay, what do you like to do? What brings you the most joy? And then what can make you the most money? Fastest.
Is that have you heard of Ikigai?
Yeah.
Is that what
Actually, it is Ikigai. I didn't even think about it, but it is.
It's like what the world needs, what
Yeah.
you're good at, or what you love to do, and then how can you make money from that?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. It is Ikigai.
Ikigai.
And so yeah, because I remember I was working with a client and she had all these lanes that she wanted to do. And, she wanted to like create these like women empowerment things and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, let's map it all out. What's going to make you the most money? Here. What do you know the most, like that comes easy to you? You don't even have to think about it. Here. Why are we focusing on women events when your money and what you know, and actually it does bring you joy because you're still kind of doing the same concept, but it was the external that she loved. It was the glitz and the glamour part that she loved, right? And so I think we have to realize, where is my ego coming into play here? Where's my ego coming into play here? And that, like women empowerment, that's cool, and that could happen. But first we got to focus, because when we don't make money, it's really hard to still feel joy. It's hard.
Yeah.
And we could talk about it. Like we could talk about
1000%.
all
True.
the like the service part and me too, because I want to serve and I want to do all those, and I do all those things too, but I still have to make money to feel good inside.
And it's not about making $1 million
Or it is.
Maybe it could
Or
be.
it is. Or it is. So I think that also, like, talk about immigrant culture. It's like, we want to be humble and we want to, and it's whatever. No, the more money we make, the more we can serve. We could also use Bad Bunny as an example, right?
Right.
So the more money he's making, the more he said, you know what? I'm gonna highlight the thing that is important to me.
Yeah.
Right? He didn't care what anybody else said. He wanted to highlight what was important to him. If he didn't have the money to actually figure out, okay, yes, it made him money, but still he needed a certain platform, a certain amount of income in order to get there first. And so I wanted to be, yes, it is about the money. It is about the money too. It's about our passion. It's about what we care about. And so when you figure, if we figure, because, you know, people say money is bad and money is all those things and it makes you evil. Okay, perfect. Well, then if I'm not evil, then I deserve more money. If you're not evil, then you deserve more money. If you're, so then let's put it in the right people's hands. But those same people are too busy being like, oh no, you know, it's not about making $1 million. No, yeah, it is. It is. It's about making 5 million or 5 billion or whatever it is. So, I mean, like, I want us to get real about both sides of it. It is about impact, 100%. It is about serving, absolutely. And it is about money too. Because the more money I have, the more I'm going to be able to give it to the causes that I want to give it to.
I think people have a misunderstanding with money where they say, okay, money is the root of all evil and thing, or it's more so greed. That could be. But I always feel that, like, money doesn't necessarily make you bad once you get it. It just amplifies who you are.
100%.
So if you are a good person and you have that money, like, you're gonna do more good causes. If you already have, like, whether it's a victim mentality or whether or not you want to step on other people to get ahead, when you make that money, that's who you're amplifying that.
I also think, because I think most people are good, right?
Yeah.
So if I believe most people are good, it's really their unhealed trauma that we're looking at.
Right.
When they're doing evil or bad or whatever, I think it's unhealed trauma. And you see it all day with, like, toxic leadership, toxic people. That's their heavy pain body that we're looking at. So then the truth is, though, a lot of these narcissists or whatever, they make a lot of money because that's what drives them, and they're going to do it at all costs. You're over here worried about embarrassing yourself. That narcissist or that person that's like, I need to get to the bag, they don't care. And they're going to do everything it takes. And we know it through, like, the Elizabeth Holmes of the world, the Anna Delveys of the world. It's like they will scam the living daylights out of somebody, and you're over here afraid to talk about what you actually do. Like, phew.
Now that's one way to get out of the matrix. It's incredible.
Oh man.
Whew.
Oh, this is kind of tough today.
This is amazing.
I'm loving this though.
This is incredible. You have 2 boys?
I have 2 sons.
You have 2
2 sons, 30 and 23.
30 and 23 years
Yeah.
old. Early on, when you were a mother, you had to just execute.
Right.
And obviously, I feel like you've done a lot of reflection and changes since then.
Yeah.
Right? So, number one, how do you balance, like, your dreams, the things that you do with parenthood and motherhood?
Yeah.
And then also, how has that role for you changed?
A lot over the years, obviously. But I remember, because I was motivated by money, right? Because I felt like I needed to make more money than other people. Because I was a single mom, really, what feels like to me my whole life. Like, that's what it feels like. It feels like I've been alone essentially my whole life. I had a great support system, thank God. My parents are amazing, and I have my sister and my family. I have brothers also, which was great. But when push comes to shove and we need to make a decision about this person, that was on me. And over the years, and I remember when I decided to move jobs and I had gotten into sales, it was a lot of hours. It was a lot. And my sister told me one time, like, you're crazy. Why would you do that? Like, the kids aren't even seeing you right now and all of this. And I said, that is true, but this is not going to be forever. This is not going to be forever. And if it lasts 2 years, 3 years, they're not even going to remember. They're not even going to remember 2 years out of the whole lifespan if this is going to get me where I need to go. So I went into sales. It was with a smaller organization. So, you know, you're wearing a lot of hats and you're spending a lot of hours. And then I ended up leaving and going back into corporate in a sales capacity. And then I was working from home. And I spent more time with my kids than anybody did. And so I was like, you see, And then I ended up bringing her into the industry that I was in anyway. And so balancing, I don't know that there's a balance. I don't know that there is a balance, but there can be harmony. There can be harmony in the sense of like, okay, I would take my computer to family functions. I would be like ready to be on, but we would also go on vacation. We would also, I don't know, there's no answer. There's no real answer. It's whatever works for you, what's harmony for you, what do you want to focus on? Yeah. And it's really, I think when it comes to kids, which I really wish I would have done this more, is really had that isolated time, even if it's just for an hour, even if it's just for 30 minutes, those are the things that they remember, right? They may not, even if you were out and busy all day long, if you gave them an hour or 30 minutes isolated, just you, no phones, just you and I, what do you want to do? That's what they're going to remember. And I remember asking my youngest not so long ago, like, do you feel I was around a lot? Like, what do you think? And he's like, I feel you were at everything. Like, you were at every game. I would be the Uber, right? Because I worked from home. So it'd be like, Mom, can you take us here? Can you take, I'm like, I'm the Uber doing this thing along with the kids. My oldest got a completely different mom. Right? My oldest got a completely different mom. His friends see me as more tough. They see me as like don't want to mess with her, but they were different than my younger son's friends, right? My younger son's friends were more, I feel like, innocent. My older son's friends, they were more into like drugs and alcohol and things like that. So I was a completely different person with them. And so I think it changes, it evolves. Each kid needs you differently. And I was a whole different human. I don't know if you've ever heard of this doctor. He said, it doesn't matter if you grew up in the same household. No kid gets the same parent. And I'm like, that is so true.
That is true.
That is so true. I have 6 siblings, or 5 siblings altogether. But the 4 of us that grew up in the house together, each of us like have a different version of mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
And some kids are more challenging and others are not, right? And we learn the most from our most challenging children. Like I always say my kids were my biggest teachers. And so, they taught me about me. They taught me leadership.
I definitely taught my parents a lot. I was definitely the most like challenging one. Yeah, definitely. Hands down.
Was there anything that maybe a mindset or something that you did believe at one time that you had to like unlearn or like change in order to get to where you are now?
Yeah, so many. Well, number one, I was always thinking like, it almost happened like instantly. I didn't even know I was doing it, but it was like, how should I show up for them? Like, and I mean them like at work, the boss, the person. Like, what is it, since I want to continue growing in my career, what is it that I think they need from me? I should probably show up a little bit more polished, a little bit more this, a little bit more that. Not understanding that just shows up as walls. That just shows up as walls, right? So people don't know, but they're like, something's off. Like, I remember this guy told me one time, Jess, I've known you for 7 years. I don't know anything about you. I don't know anything about you. I know you have a sister and 2 sons. That's it. Right? So it shows up as walls. And so if there's a wall there, if they don't know anything about me, when there's like, oh, who should we work on this project with? Why would they pick me? They don't know me.
Right.
And so I think I believed that I needed to show up a certain way in order to be seen a certain way. When the reality is, I needed to be more myself. And when I did become more myself, things felt so much easier for me and for everybody around me.
Do you think that was from like, because you also, I know I heard on your podcast too, where you mentioned like you had a problem trusting.
Oh my God, big time.
People.
Oh my God. I mean, we walk around with our trauma. Like we walk around with all of our trauma. And so, yes. And what's interesting is that the trusting came up again recently.
Oh.
Yeah. Again, because I said I always felt like I was alone, right? And in some ways, I still feel very alone now. And so I remember I was buying into this program, and the coaching space is an interesting one. There's a lot of people out there saying that they do things that they don't, and there's and I spent a lot of expensive learning lessons, and I finally said, okay, I'm going to invest in these people, and the whole trust thing came up again. And what was wild is that I was away at this event with them, And all of a sudden, one of the guys calls me and says, are you at the hotel? I'm going to come by. And I was like, oh, yeah, come by. And I thought to myself, he has something to tell me. Because this shit would happen in corporate all the time. Because we were remote sales, so we would be on location wherever. And whenever they're like, oh, hey, I want to, like, are you available? Like, I just want to chat. It was always some shit. Like, it was always something. And so I'm like, what does he have to say? Something is up. In my head, whoop, the wall goes up. No trust. What's going on here? It was literally like take me back to 2015 in corporate or whatever. And he shows up and he's like, so how are things going? I'm like, good. What's up? And he's like, no, I want to know. What are you thinking about the program so far? Blah, blah, blah. I said, good. And he's like trying to pull teeth, trying to get me to talk. I'm like, you're here for a reason. What's up? What's going on? And he's like, well, and they wanted to give me something. They wanted to give me something. And they're like, we really believe in you. We really this, we really that. And I was like, oh, okay. And I loved that happened to me. And of course I started crying. Like, I just feel so alone. And he's like, girl, we got you. Like, stop the bullshit. Like, I need that too. I need that too. It's like, let that story that happen. Okay, you got it out. Like, we're putting that story over there and we're never going to see it again. And, I thought to myself, this was so good that this happened because it shows me that I still have like something to work on there. I still have some trust that I need to release, like, and not release, like some trauma around trust that I need to release. And thinking like, what's going on? Who, like, what are they gonna tell me now? Like, or what's like, and it's like, I don't work for them. Like, there's nothing that could have happened. Right. But I love that. I love when things like that come up for me because it just reminds me that there are still areas I need to work on.
Yeah.
And it's good.
Speaking of things to work on, are you working on anything exciting now? Like, what are some things that we can look forward to?
Yes. I just started a new cohort called or new program called the Communication Collective. And so communication really changed every single relationship I have. It changed everything. Even when I think about when I wasn't, quote unquote, doing like self-help, but sales is all communication. And that changed and really brought out my personality. And so then fast forward to like me really working on myself, the way I deliver messages, the way I talk to myself, the way I speak to others, the way I handle difficult conversations, public speaking, like communication, that's the one thing that we do all day from the second we wake up.
Right.
And so I lean a lot on communication. And so I started the Communication Collective, and we meet every other Saturday. And yesterday was our first call, and it was absolute fire. One of the girls wrote to me like, let me buckle up because the call one was crazy. And so it'll just be an ongoing, it's not a cohort style. This will be just like ongoing, whoever wants to join us, and we'll be meeting every other Saturday at 9 a.m. And the goal will be really for you to, for me to guide you through what does it look like for me to communicate, like enhancing a lot of these conversations that we're having right now. So excited about doing that. It's also a lower ticket program for me because when I came out of the gate, I started with high ticket. Like that's just what I knew. And I was already kind of doing like coaching at work in corporate on a digital level anyway, like through Zoom. So that's the way it went. So this is more a lower entry point for me. So I'm excited to serve more people. And then of course I do retreats. So I think I'm going to do 2 international. I do one that's already almost booked out. We're going to El Salvador International Retreat. I might do another one next year. And then I do New York retreats. And then I just have, I'm more engaged with government projects. I have a couple of government projects that are going to be huge and super excited about that. So just continuing to grow and, making sure I hit that $1 million, multi-million-dollar mark so that I can serve more people.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I
And
love that.
For anybody who wants to follow you on your journey, support you, and attend one of your retreats or anything above, where can we find you? Where can we contact you?
I typically hang out on Instagram at jessicarivera.co, which is also my website, and LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn as well.
This was Amazing.
This was incredible.
So grateful that you came on. So
No,
we
thank
really
you for
do
having
appreciate
me.
that.
As we wrap things up, I would love to ask you one final question, which is, if you could have a message that you could say to your 19-year-old self, what would it be?
Fuck them. No, I'm kidding.
If it is, that's cool too.
No, it would be that to believe more in yourself, right? And to know that you really are the secret sauce, right? And people told me that. Like, people have told me that my whole life, that it's like you have something special. You just have to kind of hone in on that. Like you and my sister would tell me, people just love being around you. Like, you know, but I kind of brushed it off as like, those people like me, or like those people care about me, or that's my sister and she loves me, or that's my dad and whatever. And I think believing that, you know, what's funny is that we get compliments and then we get criticism, and we make a choice to believe the criticism more so than the compliments.
That's true.
And so I would tell my 19-year-old self to listen to the compliments more and double down on what I believe to be true.
That's amazing.
I felt that.
Yeah.
I felt that deeply. Wow.
Thank you again for joining us, Jessica Rivera.
Thank you for having me.
But no, seriously, thank you for taking your time. Even when we first met you, you had great energy. We knew that we had to bring you on.
We knew it.
To our podcast.
I knew it.
Yes.
Just hearing you speak,
you.
I looked at him like, she's speaking my story.
Yeah, big facts. You know, thank you for blessing
Amazing.
us.
Thank you.
with
Thank
your
you for
energy.
having me.
Yeah. And once again, my name is Rob,
And I'm saying
and this is
Gemini
Soulcast.
Soulcast.